Alrighty, guys, welcome back to episode 2 now of the Away Day show. Once again, joined by Tony Galippo. A big show today. Going to be discussing team of the season, player of the season, our surprise of the year, and going also through coach of the year. So, obviously, we come to that time, end of the season, where it's all fun and games. The table's sort of taking shape. Obviously, we're recording this the night of the last game, so relegation's still up for grabs. But how are you today, man?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah.
Really intrigued to see what's going to happen tonight with the final fixtures. Probably more looking forward towards the relegation battle because there's not really much happening towards the Champions League places, and the title race is already over. We've still got the last place for European football.
Yep.
Aston Villa and Tottenham fighting for that. Yeah. So that will be intriguing. Hopefully Villa
can pull through.
The relegation battle is going to be exciting to watch tonight.
Yeah.
See, what are your opinions?
I feel like Everton's result last week was massive. That last kick of the game, based that goal. I think it's hard for Everton to almost lose in this position, but once again, I think it says more about Everton that they're there again in a relegation battle. But I guess before we get into it, what do you think? What needs to happen? I guess firstly for tonight for Everton, but then going forward to fix them up going to next season.
Well, I'll make a shock call first. I think Everton are getting relegated.
You think they're going down?
Yeah.
Wow. So who's coming up then? You got Leeds going up or you got Leicester going up?
Leicester staying
up.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you think they get enough goals, get the win, get enough goals to go through?
Well, if they win and Everton lose, they're through.
They're through.
Their goal difference is already better.
And Leeds not going to...
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, if Everton draw and Leicester win, they're through as well. Are they only 2 points behind? If I'm not mistaken, and they've got better goal difference.
Yeah, that's it. The better goal, isn't it? So we got, so Leeds' goal difference is worse. Yeah, by 9 goals as well. So
not Leeds. Everton and Leicester's goal difference.
Yeah, so Everton's a worse goal difference than Leicester's. Yeah,
and what's the point differential? 2.
It's only 2 points.
Yeah, so if Everton draw,
so you've got Leicester winning tonight.
Well, I've got Leicester winning and Everton. I don't see them winning. So even if they pull away with a draw,
I guess that's the point. Yeah, I don't see Everton winning. I just don't see any of them winning, to be honest. So you've got, Everton hosting Bournemouth. Yeah. I know it's at home, but Bournemouth have been a very good team. We've seen as United fans watching last week, Bournemouth are a very, very handy team. And then you look at Leicester at home to West Ham. West Ham obviously have that cup final coming up. So
that's where I come from. That's where my opinion comes from here. I think that the cup final for Everton's going to really put their focus in another place. Yeah. Obviously, Bournemouth as well. They're probably out on the beach.
A bit on the beach, yeah.
Yeah. So they're probably both teams they're versing who probably don't have much interest in tonight's game. But I feel like Leicester have more of a chance pulling through against West Ham than Everton do. And then it's obviously, if neither of them pull through, Everton takes the cigars celebrating tonight.
Yeah. Sean Dyche gets it done in the end.
Yeah. But I reckon Leicester.
It's going to be tough. I rate I'd like to see Leicester staying up. I don't think Everton deserve going down after the last 2 seasons they've had with just escaping. But I guess it would be remiss of us to say, obviously, Luton winning last night on penalties in a very exciting final. I watched the first half, that really end-to-end sort of style there. Luton and that I guess stadium now it's come remarked as the worst stadium in England almost in the houses there. But yeah, big props to them getting up to the Premier League and be excited to see them up there next season.
Well, yeah, as we were just discussing, it was like, how's their style going to stack up in the Premier League?
It's long ball. It's a bit of Stoke about it, isn't it?
A bit of Stoke, maybe even a little bit of Burnley, like hit it up to Rodriguez as they used to have back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah. It'll be exciting to see how they go. And so I don't see how I think the Premier League is asking for renovation to be done to a degree. And I see all the TikToks and all the YouTube stories of the away end where there's just poles in the way of spectators. So it'll be an interesting stadium and a fun one to set a true British type of stadium in the Prem. And obviously, well managed in the end. Obviously, they lost Nathan Jones midway through the season to Southampton. So well picked up and well managed towards the end of the season to get through. But yeah, a big win obviously for them to get in the Premiership, a smaller team. And I think 9 years ago in the National League. So
that's a
good story.
Yeah, massive scalp for them.
100%. And then I guess while we're at it as well, obviously last night in the Bundesliga, I watched the full 90 minutes of Borussia Dortmund, who unfortunately lost to Mainz and drew to Mainz in the end, but lost the title because of a late goal there, 2-1 win for Bayern Munich. But Bayern now 11 times in a row champs in the Bundesliga. They're just so dominant, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it was Dortmund's to lose and they lost it They Hulla with a penalty miss to make it 1-1. They go down the other end 5 or so minutes later, make it 2-0. That's where it really changed. And you didn't, you didn't see like Bayern not scoring. Like Musiala in the 89th minute comes and scores. Bayern was always going to win. It was whether Dortmund were going to win or not.
Yeah.
The guy you have to look for is Marco Reus.
Yeah.
Staying with Dortmund after many times being targeted by Bayern. Could have gone. Could have had the cigars there. But
nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
It was tough because he had a few chances himself, and you can see I think it was a header into the 70th minute. Glanced on and went over the bar, and you looked at him. He looks like defeated. Like it was a tough old game for Dortmund. They just didn't have any sort of intensity or energy. It's one of those. It felt like a cup final because they started slow. And they just couldn't get the energy, that intensity back. And unfortunately, we all want to see Dortmund or like another challenger do well in the Bundesliga, but Bayern just too good. And Thomas Tuchel, I think, dodged a bullet there because if he didn't win the title, I think he would have lost his job once again. But very lucky to get through there in the end of it all. I guess we'll go to what the video is all about today. So, team of the season for the Premier League, our awards, the way we saw the season go, a bit of back and forth conversation of how we thought the season went. Obviously, we'll start with the goalkeepers. I guess my 3 I've put up there sort of as reference, Aaron Ramsdale, Nick Pope, and David Araya. Who you have as your sort of like nominations for the goalkeeper position?
So, I've got Ramsdale, Pope, and De Gea. De Gea's a very hard one because he's let in probably 2 mistakes, I think it is. But the thing you have to look at with De Gea is how many points he has saved United throughout the season.
100%.
You look at some of the double saves he's made. Like, I understand that as a goalkeeper, you get targeted on your mistakes and they're really spotlighted, and because when you're the last man in defence, you've got to you can't be making those mistakes. But if you look at it in reference to how many points he's saved in retrospect to how many points he's given away, he'd probably be top of the Premier League.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to put him in there.
I reckon one of the premier shot stoppers, and someone, I guess he's an old and trusty, reliable. He's been there for a few years now. He knows what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I guess recency bias comes into it because the mistakes have been the last sort of a month or so. But I think for me, my 3rd sort of nomination, David Raya, I just love what this guy's all about. And rumoured to, I guess, move to Tottenham next year. But this guy, I know everyone talks about Ramsdale's distribution, but I think David Raya's distribution will be up there with one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
Whenever I watch Brentford play, he plays at the back so well, and he's one of the best shot stoppers in the league as well. He can't go unnoticed. There's a lot of great goalkeepers in the Premier League, but David Raya, the ability to hit passes out to the Mbamos of the world or Tony when he was playing the like, but he's just composed to make big saves at big moments. And I remember the Tottenham game a week or so ago, and Brentford played there. He made a massive save in the late moments of the game, and you just think this guy's destined to join a big club because he's a serious goalkeeper, serious reflex saves, obviously distribution. I think is up there with Ramsdale. We're the best in the Premier League, but another nomination for me. But obviously, both had Ramsdale and Pope. Who did you choose to be the goalkeeper who's in your team this season?
Pope.
You went Pope.
Yeah. What about you?
I went Ramsdale in the end. Maybe a similar to the thing with De Gea. I think the mistakes and the big mistake, obviously, coming with that red card in this. I just think Ramsdale hasn't been flawless, but I think it's been ultra consistent throughout the year. One of the better distributors. Being an Arsenal team who's led the Premier League for 200 plus days.
Yeah.
I like what Nick Pope's done, but I almost expected it. At Burnley, we saw it. He was an incredible keeper. He's got that length, got that size, but I think again that red card, he basically cost Newcastle a trophy and a few games where he missed out. But I don't know. I just think, in my point of view, I just like what Ramsdale's done this year. I like the way the Arsenal have gone about it, and it's because of that back four and that distribution he plays out for the back. Why did you end up going with Nick Pope there?
I just think that Newcastle really centred around this year.
Yeah.
A lot of those games where you look at them, they've won 1-0, 2-0. Like, it's really low-scoring games, and they've been really built around the defence with Botman, Trippier.
Yeah.
And that's what they've, really been centred around, to the point where I think he's kept so many clean sheets and so sorry, so many clean sheets, and he's been like their shot stopper and something that you didn't expect from Newcastle. I think it's really started from the back.
Yeah.
So like having someone in goal and having that security for Newcastle, I think has just been so much more like evident than at Arsenal.
Yeah, I can say that.
In terms of like, again, you looking back, Ramsdale, some of the saves he's made. But again, I think Ramsdale, if you look at his saving action, he actually exaggerates a lot of his saves that he makes. So I'm not like taking any credit off of his season, but sometimes he looks to be better, making better saves than he is.
With the camera sort of stuff. Yeah. And I say that. And don't get me wrong, Pope's had a great season, and every football fan can agree.
Yeah.
Their top four this year has come from that back four and I guess the back five with the goalkeeper. Yeah. I'm fine to submit defeat in that one because I definitely reckon Pope and Ramsdale was a toss of the coin for me. I'm happy to commit. We'll go with Pope for that one as our goalkeeper. Going to right back, I think it's a bit of a slam dunk.
Yep.
We talked a bit about him. Kieran Trippier, what a year. So he came over as part, I guess, that new regime, I guess, since he's been there. He's a leadership as a captain of the club, but also we've seen his ability to go forward in the past for England and for Tottenham to a lesser extent, but we forget because he was in Spain for so long how good he is going forward. I think it's one thing to defend well, and he's been one of the better defenders in the league, but I just love the way he goes forward and can deliver a great ball into the box. He's almost a secured goal from a free kick nowadays, similar like a Ward-Prowse, but head and shoulders above everyone, I reckon. He's just been so consistent throughout the season, almost faultless, and a leader in that Newcastle team.
Yeah, well, I don't even think there was any contenders really for this position.
Yeah.
He was a shoe-in straight away.
Yep.
Put him on pen to paper.
Yeah.
So I don't really have anything more to add to with that one.
100%. If I had to have anyone close, I'd had done Ben White maybe as a sort of a close runner-up. Obviously, a centre-back naturally converted him at Mikel Arteta and had a great year, Ben White, I think. For someone who I didn't think would be the answer to their problems, and maybe isn't the answer to their problems going forward, he did a great role, defended well. He can manipulate the play. He's still very good going forward with the football, but maybe if they want to make a push to the title, we have to get a proper through and through right back in the future. But slam dunk Kieran Trippier in the end, I think pretty easy. You're saying about pairings, so I've gone. Yeah, I'll go. I know I'm four names. Four names that I've just sort of toss up between Saliba, Lisandro Martinez, Ruben Diaz, and Sven Botman.
Yep.
And I end up going with Saliba and Diaz. Who did you pair up as your centre
So
backs?
I had the exact same four that I was considering, and I've gone with Diaz and Botman.
Diaz and Botman.
Yeah.
So no Saliba.
But with this one, I'm probably happy to accept defeat because Botman and Saliba was like a 50-50 call with me.
Well, I guess we'll mention the others before we get into the actual winners, I guess. Lisandro Martinez, all the talk, Jamie Carragher coming this year, you can't be under 6 foot and play centre back, and the Premier League's about the pace, the power, the height. There's also about, but since he's been in that team as a United fans, we know instrumental towards the success and one of the most aggressive centre backs in a few years. We've got all the Rolls Royces in Diaz and Van Dijk, but he's a true out and out sort of crazy nutter sort of centre back. But what a role he's played for United this season and consistently through and throughout been a brick wall for United this year.
Well, yeah, the partnership with him and Varane for United have been exceptional. To be honest, United probably started to miss him after he's gone out injured.
100%.
It's probably the reason why you can't put him into that debate.
Yeah.
Because of the injuries, like the injury at the end of the season. Probably as well, you look at the first 2 games for United. Yeah. The start and the end of the season is the reason why, like, I don't really have an argument to put him as into the starting pair. Yeah. Like, I think he's definitely a contender, but that's where it all it stands. Yeah, but he's been exceptional. He's like revolutionised United's defence, to be honest, after
100%.
Last year. So
a World Cup winner as well. We can't forget another great ball playing player that was needed for Manchester United, left side centre back. So definitely a great shout. And then obviously Sven Botman, first year in the Premier League, moved from Ligue 1. A great start. He looks composed. He looks like he could be the heart of Newcastle defence in many years to come. But just super reliable. Whenever in doubt, Sven Botman will be there, Nick Pope will be there, Kieran Trippier will be there. Those three have been the standouts this season. But for a debut season, as far as debut season is going, a really, really impressive season for Sven Botman. Let's talk about the guys we put in.
Yep.
So you're going to submit defeat with Saliba. They're going to go with Saliba.
I'm happy to submit defeat there.
Yeah. So Saliba, great. I think more the point, this is sort of a counter argument, I guess. once he's been out, you see how important he is for
Yeah.
Arsenal. And you talked about Arsenal's fragility at the back a little bit. It's all come since he's been gone. And I think watching Arsenal many times throughout the year, he just is cool, calm, composed, and just
Yep.
you feel. I think as Arsenal fans will say, and I'll definitely ask Phil when he's back on the show. I feel like as an Arsenal fan, you just feel calm with Saliba there because watching the game, it looks like the game's in control when Saliba's back there. He can control the ball, control the pace of the game, and you can't really go past it. But he's quick, he's agile, and he's got all the tools in his back pocket. Just super duper this year and really, really remarkable. I guess he's sort of had a semi-debut season as well, coming back from loan and coming and playing this year. I guess your thoughts on Saliba's season?
Well, yeah, the biggest question mark was he had come from the League One,
Yeah.
gone and played for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Didn't really do much.
Yeah.
Went back to Ligue 1 on loan. And at the start of this year, you heard a few rumours about Arteta saying how well he has come back.
Yeah.
He's training. He was going to start the first game, which was a bit of a shock to most people.
Yeah.
And then, from there, he's just really like played that type of like Varane. He's like similar in that aspect. He's fast, quick, aerially a threat. Like aerially, he's beating everybody. Yeah. He's strong, ball playing as well. He's just the complete centre back, to be honest. Yeah. And he had a lot of like potential you could see. Like when he played for Arsenal, I think it was 2 or 3 seasons ago before he went back on loan. But it was always that flaws and a bit of that composure.
Yeah.
I think that's where it was just the composure side of it that was a bit of a question mark. And I think he's really fixed that back over in League One last year.
I think the confidence he's gotten from Mikel has obviously put faith in from day one to go and play. You are the centre back of this football club. I remember early on the season, it was game against Bournemouth where him and Gabriel were almost like Bournemouth could not get past into their box because those two were just brick walls. And the first half of the season, those two was you can almost have them in the team season as just a pairing. They were so unstoppable at times and just resilient. And Arsenal's run in the first half of the season was built off those guys at the back and their ball playing ability, their speed agility. It reminded me of a bit of like a Van Dijk in that COVID year. He was unstoppable. Couldn't go past him, and I'm very, very impressed seeing for Saliba. And if they can get it back up to him, similar to his quality, you got a strong 3 centre backs there in Arsenal. It's very dangerous for them going forward. Obviously, the next centre back, Diaz, hard to separate, I guess, the Man City centre back. You got Akanji there, Ake, who moved out to the left, and obviously Diaz. But I think you just can't not have Diaz in a team of the season these days. He's ultra consistent. It's just hard to judge him because Man City are so good with the ball most of the time. But when without the ball, it's hard to watch him. But when you do focus on that part of the game, he organises the team. He's a leader out there in the field. Yep. I can't say a bad word about him. Since he's been there, the best centre back in the league by a long, long way, I think.
Well, yeah. The question mark was at the start of the season, Pep wasn't playing him.
Yeah.
Like for the first, it was only the first couple rounds. Yeah. But to be honest, when they've got so many centre backs, like if there's a little flaw in someone's game, a little bit of a misinformed, it's just like next bloke in. So I can understand, like if that was any other team, you'd probably persist with it. But apparently he was a bit unfit and stuff. So, but since he's come back in, like I think it was about match day 4, match day 5.
Yeah.
He's been exceptional. Like probably the first person you actually put on your sheet. Yeah. Or if you look at Carragher and Neville's team of the year, they both. It was one of the few they actually both agreed with.
Yes, definitely. And I feel like now it's almost like it was. I might say with a few guys up the pitch, it's almost tradition now. Annual tradition to have Ruben Diaz at the heart of the centre back position. Man City, they're so good going forward, but he is a rock of their defence.
Yep.
Moving out to the left back position now. This might be rogue or not right. I've gone with Luke Shaw as my centre back. Who have you gone with out there left back?
A left back?
Yeah.
Estupiñán.
Now I like this call because he was my backup. He was my second or my runner-up call. Tell me why Estupiñán, because I like him.
The main reason behind that is because Cucurella was a massive player to them last year.
Yeah.
And his departure, everyone was like a bit unsure, especially with their game style. Their fullbacks really get up the pitch, really overlap, really cut inside, defensively up and down. It's one of their most important positions, I'd actually say, at Brighton. Yeah. Like the fullbacks there are really like the foundation of their game. And Estupiñán's just been amazing all year. Defensively, even attacking. Like the best example is watching him when Brighton beat United 1-0 only a couple games ago.
Yeah.
He was so solid. Like, I don't think he got beaten once. He was whipping balls into the box, cutting inside into the midfield. I hadn't really seen a complete performance like that from a left back.
Yeah.
I think other like contenders, a lot of people have Zinchenko in it.
Have to be. Yeah.
Zinchenko after him moving over from Man City.
Yeah.
And then Luke Shaw. I completely understand the Luke Shaw one. And he was in my mind.
Yeah.
Because we know what he can do, like defensively and attackingly. Like just so solid. Like when he goes on his runs down the left-hand side.
Hard to stop him.
Yeah. He's like a little bull, but it's like he's got a bull with like an engine on the back and no one can catch him either.
He's quick,
he cuts inside, leaves room for Rashford. Him and Rashford work superbly. But you start to not question, but it was more like because he had those weeks in centre-back, it's probably the thing, like he didn't have a consistent run. And then also you look back at like the start of the season, he got dropped for Malacia. So like he's been good probably since like match week 8. But little stuff like that when you're picking the team of the season, like
100%.
That's what was probably the differential.
Yeah, and I'll totally 100% agree with you with this to opinion. Consistent part of Brighton's plan. I think it's important you bring that up. They are such a well-constructed team, exciting team to watch, but because they're so free-flowing in their pace, their power they play with, it's so exciting to watch. And that comes on the fullback's position. And Stupian's been awesome. Well, another great find from Brighton from almost like nowhere, just vanished, and they grabbed guys up. Superb team. I guess similar, to the John Stones debate at centre back. I probably have him as one of my centre backs, but playing left back since Cancelo's basically left the club. So similar to Luke Shaw, he played centre back for much of the middle part of the season there, and understandable. But Stupian, it's hard to dethrone him, I guess, from that spot because of how good it consistently he's been. How good Brighton have been this year. But I guess, as you said before, a big shout out also to Zinchenko. Coming across from Man City, never easy. Arsenal were not expected to do much this year, but start of the season, he was that fire, that spark in them. You see that in those huddles. He was, commanding the troops. I think one of those players that plays with his heart on his sleeve. Like every time he goes out there, the passion he shows, and you can call him a bit of like a passion merchant, I guess, in a way. But it can't be a mocker on his footballing ability as well, because he's a very good footballer. He's very talented technically. Obviously, in a Pep team, you have to be, but he's brought that across to Man City, and a great season from him. But I would agree, and Stupian can jump in that team there. Alrighty, we'll move to the central midfield at 4-3-3. I think we'll go with.
I'm happy to go with that.
So, do you want to do the deep line player first? Because I've got a few up there. Obviously, Casemiro, Partey, and Rodri.
Yep.
Who are your nominations for that deep line position?
Well, I had Rodri and Casemiro. I didn't put a third in.
Yeah.
I didn't think that Partey was worthy of the conversation.
Yeah.
I think he had a really good year, but I think those two were so far ahead of the rest of the pack that I didn't bother really putting a third contender in. I can completely understand why Partey's there though.
And who did you end up going with?
Casemiro.
You went Casemiro, all right. I did go with Rodri, so you got a bit of separation here.
I think I can completely understand why you went with Rodri.
Yeah.
But my thing was actually going against a bit what I've said with the defenders is Casemiro's had a better season than Rodri, but you have to consider the suspensions. I think Casemiro's missed 8 games out with suspension, and that's the only thing that probably made me question. Yeah. But in terms of their season, I think Casemiro was a lot more influential to Man United and than Rodri was to City. I think Rodri can sometimes be a bit undervalued. Yeah. A bit underrated. Yeah. In that sense, which I completely understand. He does provide that base for City, sitting in front of the fans as well. He's capable of scoring, creating play, cleaning up. So I understand that. But Casemiro, just some of the influential goals, going back to the start of the season when he just started, the goal, the header at Chelsea.
Yeah. Save the point.
Save the point. Looking back at the last couple of weeks, influential in getting the top 4 because it started to get a bit touchy-feely at the end of the season with Liverpool winning 7 or 8 in a row.
Yeah, on a charge.
So you started to question, Man United going to make top 4. Yep. They've done it in the end with a game to spare, but it became a bit a bit nerve-wracking, I'd say, especially
100%.
with like Rashford out, Varane out, Martinez out. You started to consider, is Maguire going to be back in the team?
Yeah.
So it was like Casemiro being there, scoring some of those influential goals, the overhead kick, just 2 game days ago.
Yeah.
And then again, a nice header just here against Chelsea to make it 1-0.
Yeah.
So I've gone with Casemiro, but I am happy to accept defeat to Rodri purely on the base of the suspensions because of his... Like, he hasn't played enough, and he probably 2 suspensions, which cost United points.
Yeah, like, arguably, that's a big point as well. I guess, touching Casemiro first, he's felt more like a box-to-box player this year. Like, he scored, I think, he's had 15 goal contributions this year.
Yep.
Incredible for a guy who came in as a deep line player that, at the start of the year, even I, as a United fan, was questioning the move. I'm saying, we're getting a 30-odd-year-old. He's won 5 Champions Leagues. Do you reckon he's coming for the money in $70 million? And £7 million. And I was thinking, this is the right move. But since that game, he came in, I think, off the bench at Leicester and off the bench at Southampton, revolutionised the United team, changed the way the structure went. I think very unlucky with those red cards. I think we have to be said that they're very unlucky red cards. And his impact's been greater than Rodri on Manchester United.
Yes.
I think Rodri's consistency, they won the Premier League, they're going for a treble. He's been the heart of that midfield. Like he controls, he dictates it, and it's hard at times because they have the ball a lot, but when they lose the ball, you need someone to win it back, and that's what Rodri can do. He supports that back line nicely when likes a Walker and Stones and Cancelo when he was there go bombing forward. You need someone to help out that 2 centre backs. I think Rodri does that role perfectly, and I think Pep said it that he's the closest to Busquets he's had in his managerial time, and that's a serious rep to have. Busquets is one of the best players, arguably the best holding midfielder of all time.
Yeah.
To get that rap's very, very remarkable, I guess, from Pep, and I think just he is the guy who oozes. And I guess this team's all about oozing that consistency, and Rodri just has that.
Yep. Okay.
He won't do anything remarkable. He won't do anything poorly. Just does his job perfectly.
We're talking about team of the season, which is 38 match days. Yeah. So in that aspect, probably Rodri is the...
It's very close. It's very close. But I'm glad you went with Rodri because I think, a superb player. As I guess that deep lying in the 3.
Yep.
I guess the middle, I think I call it of the 3 next. I had one guy really only for this position. Who did you have? I'll start with you first.
Well, I've done 2, as you'd say, attacking midfielders for these.
Right. Yeah, I think we're going the same lines. So who'd you go, guess, for the other midfield position?
Well, the other one, I went for De Bruyne.
Yeah. And then the attacking midfielder as well was?
Odegaard.
Yes. We're basically the same thing. I had Odegaard as a middle centre mid.
Yeah.
And then De Bruyne the furthest forward. But before we go into those, just a few shout-outs. I guess I had Palhinha, good year for Fulham, came across. I guess a big season to prove himself, and he proved himself very, very well. I also had Gundogan in there as well, captaining City at most times this season, dictates the game, goes under the radar, and then comes great the last 2 months of the year where he's basically God himself. Or Maradona almost a comparison. Incredible end of the season for him, and great seasons for those 2 guys. But Odegaard and De Bruyne, these guys being ultra consistent. I guess starting with Odegaard, captaining the club at the start of the season. Again, one of those Arsenal choices again, I thought, he's just the right guy to take him forward, is the right option. But boy, he's been awesome this season. His moments where he comes up clutching, he's just, I think, for me, I guess a lot of the Arsenal players, the forward half Arsenal players for me, that's where they stand out. Their impacts, assist-wise, goal-wise, they impact games and change games. And that Bournemouth game when they were down 2-0 or whatever it was, he instigated that going forward. He didn't score the winning goal, but he instigated that play, setting up the play. I think this season you showed why he was at Real Madrid for a short period there. He is ultra good with the ball at his feet, super technically gifted, and a great year from Odegaard. Yeah,
well, Odegaard for me has been really impressive. Out of the Arsenal players, I think he's been the standout. You've obviously got Saka and Martinelli and a couple others the Salibas that we've already mentioned, but Odegaard with the captain's armband has just been ultra impressive. He's led from the front. There's a lot of games towards the end of the season when they were still fighting for it. As you were saying, the Bournemouth game, and some others where he'll score braces. He was scoring braces. He's an attacking midfielder, I think, who's now got 15 goals or 14.
Something definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. So around that mark, he's also been assisting. He actually probably drops back as well. Like, he's not really playing that traditional number 10 role. Is
No.
probably why we've put him in this team as like a little bit
box to
deeper.
box, sort of.
Yeah, box. I wouldn't say he's so much as a box to box. He's still Arsenal's most attacking midfielder.
Yeah, definitely.
But like he gets right back, and some of the clutch moments, we should say, when things matter, is the real reason why.
15 goals, 7 assists, so 22 contributions.
Well, that's like numbers. Well, back a couple of seasons ago from Bruno.
Yeah, 100%. And that won him team of the team of the season as well. And then obviously De Bruyne, the 10 going for the Chelsea, they're the best team in the league by a long way. And I think that midfield trio, Gundogan, De Bruyne and Rodri, you couldn't have asked for maybe the best 3 midfielders in the Premier League's history. I think you get to go to like the great United teams or Arsenal teams, the past when he matched that, because that's just awesome. I think De Bruyne's output is just incredible. His assist numbers through the roof every season. But like you said before with Odegaard, he works equally as hard back behind the ball. It goes under the radar how much defensive work he does. He doesn't get the big sliding tackles, but he's there setting them up for the back. And those 3 midfielders that City have are almost all 3 go box to box, so they can go both ways, super fit. And De Bruyne just always comes out clutch with a goal when City need it. And he also captains many games for City as well. He's a leader out there in the field. And now the debate's coming up now. If he wins another title this year, maybe the treble, where does he go down and rank, I guess, the all-time midfielders of the Premier League? But, another season we just think, like, this guy can't put a foot wrong, basically.
Well, with De Bruyne, I'd honestly say if he wins the treble, he's ahead of Lampard, Scholes, and Gerrard.
Yeah.
I'd say he's the top of it. His assist output is just outstanding. Like, obviously, it's helped now having Haaland there. Like, Haaland's helped it, but you've seen in recent years, like even last year when he went and played like as that false 9 because they had no striker, he was scoring more if he gets told to do that. But his season is just outstanding. The balls he plays through, whipping, everything, it's really just magical. Like, you just like adore it, to be honest. Like, it's just something
you can't stop it.
When you're watching football, you really don't want to see anything more magical. Like, that's just like amazing. It's what gets the bums on the seats, in my opinion. Like, obviously, you get those special goals, the bicycle kicks is the entertainment. But for someone who really appreciates the like maestro type of like football and the ball playing aspect of that, some of the like involvements he had this year with goals, because obviously he's not scoring as many as he has in recent season because of Haaland.
That big bloke,
But some of his involvements, like the balls into the box, like he's just telling Haaland, put your head there.
Just be there,
just be at the right place because I'll put it there. Like, it's just amazing. But it's nothing to be surprised about because he's now done it for, 2016 since he's come to the Premier League?
Yeah, so sort of 4 or 5 years consistently.
If not longer. So, yes. Nothing really.
One of a kind, really. And I definitely reckon if he wins the treble this year, I definitely have him ahead of Lampard, probably ahead of Gerrard, and then sort of equal with Scholes or just above Scholes. But as far as a ball playing midfielder guy, one of the best to ever grace the pitch. Going the forward front 3, I guess we'll start the obvious one, that striker Haaland. A quick shout to Harry Kane, who has gone under the radar, scoring 28 goals for Tottenham, which is 28 goals a year for Tottenham, which is worth 75 because Tottenham are rubbish. So impressive from Kane, but obviously Haaland, the 36 goals, remarkable. And I remember watching that West Ham game, the opening day of the season, and he managed to get there. He hadn't touched the ball. He managed to get there, get a goal, get a penalty goal. He had 2 goals there. And ever since then, he just kept rolling on. And when a dry spell was 2 games, whatever it was, that, this guy is a genius. He's got to be up there now. I think he's proven himself. Obviously, Mbappe had the World Cup final, but going to the Premier League and doing what he's done, got to be right there with the best at the moment in the world. But what a season. Breaks the scoring record and never looked like he's going to stop it as well.
Well, he's just been remarkable. Like, from the first game he played, I think he scored 10 in his first 6. Then it was something like quickest to 20. Quickest to 30. Quickest... Like, it was just remarkable, some of the stuff he was doing. Like, obviously, some people say, and I would probably say I was a little bit on that boat, like, some of the goals he scores, is a lot of poaching. He's always in behind or ball into the box, header or something. But in itself, that's an art.
Getting there.
So, being in the right place and being able to finish it, and he doesn't really waste many chances. To be honest, probably around the March stage, I started to think that he wouldn't be my
You're right. Yeah.
player of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because the way Rashford was playing, but
yeah.
then obviously the injury and drop off from Rashford at the end of the season probably eliminated that thought of mine.
Right.
I thought that, as I've said, Haaland's already in a team that probably would win the Prem,
Yeah.
no matter if he was there or not. Don't get me wrong, he's played a massive part in that, scoring 36 goals so far, and still a game left. But I just thought that Rashford was a little bit more influential. But but the problem was it was for a shorter period of time.
Yeah.
Whereas Haaland was match day 1
All the way through.
all the way to match day 37 that we've done so far. So he's just been a standout, and I don't think anyone could really debate at this stage him being the player of the season.
Yeah,
I think it was basically a shoe-in. It's probably one of the first ones. We've had
nailed on.
We've had many in the recent years where we go, oh, is it going to be that
really?
player? Yeah, that's a bit dodgy or something like that. But this one was a shoe-in.
100%. And it's funny you mentioned Rashford. So I'm going out left now.
Yeah.
And I've got between Rashford, Silva, and Martinelli, and I've gone with Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
Who's your left winger?
Yeah, Marcus
Okay,
Rashford.
good. We go in that one. I think Silva probably could be in there.
Yep.
Martinelli's first half of the year was great. I think the fall-off's been pretty significant, so I think ruled him out. Obviously, Silva's a great player down the flank, but I see him more as a midfielder that is playing out in the flank. But I think Rashford's impact this season, like you said before, through the roof. The guy had 2 really, really bad years. The COVID season a few years ago was very good.
Yep.
But I always thought something, could he ever get to that level again? And in pre-season, seeing Rashford play with Martial again, it felt like, back to that sort of COVID style where they had, the Greenwood, Rashford and Martial, trio up the top there. And after Ronaldo left, a lot on his shoulders, right? A lot's going on his shoulders. Early in the season, didn't have much impact. Obviously, Ronaldo's out there and a lot of that drama and United struggling. But when it came sort of winter time, he hit his straps and what a sort of World Cup period to 4 months after he's had, and obviously a few injuries, a few illnesses in recent weeks, but the guy just seems to find the net whenever he's on the field. He's improved his heading ability. We both noted this year he has to head the ball. Now he's becoming more of a poacher, getting in positions to score a goal, and looks more like a more complete football. Obviously, he wants to play out in the flank, but it was forced on the middle a lot of times this year and was clinical at times. We're talking about Haaland not missing many opportunities, but Rashford didn't miss many this year either and was super clinical in a United team that struggled to create chances, struggled to score goals, and he was the one that the team was relying on this year to get that top 4 position.
Well, with Rashford, some of the stuff he did this year was just exceptional. Like, you look at that Arsenal goal.
Yeah.
Meg's party.
Skips
and then
past
puts it straight through. Straight, like, knuckling a bottom corner. Traditional Rashford, like back to that free kick goal that he scored against Chelsea.
Yeah.
The reason I put him there over like Martinelli, over Bernardo Silva, because I had the same rough people. Bernardo Silva was ahhing, but I thought he's more of a, even though he's played probably majority out on the wing, he's played a lot in the midfield as well.
Yep.
So with Rashford, I think that the major thing is United have struggled to score goals this year.
100%, yeah.
Without Rashford.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest worry of me as a United fan of United not making top 4 was him not being on the pitch. Who's actually going to score our goals? We actually saw a bit of a problem there for 2 or 3 games. With United. So some of the goals, like even a lot of the games where you've seen with De Gea having the most clean sheets, we've actually won 1-0. Yeah.
It's just keep a clean sheet.
And if you look at those 1-0 games, who was the bloke on the score sheet?
It's only one man to score at the moment. It's Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, so that's what you have to look at, the influence he had on the game. And as you said, you brought it up, the heading ability.
Yeah.
He actually really struggled with that, even in that COVID season where he was dominant. I think he scored 17 goals that year, was our main man, moving from the left-hand striker as well. But his heading ability was atrocious. Now, looking at some of the games like that West Ham goal,
beautiful header.
Beautiful. Something he's obviously really worked on. I don't know if he worked on it maybe a little bit with Ronaldo.
Yeah, maybe, Impact could be there,
But I don't, after thinking about it, I don't think I had any argument to put anyone there apart from Marcus Rashford. Is that a bit biased?
Maybe
from United's point of view?
Yeah.
Possibly. But looking at, I try to always relate to how did that influence the team?
100% impact.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be one of the largest out of any player this year, especially where he went from to where they're going, and the team undermanned, not great quality players as of yet, not really to that level yet. Got to the top 4, did his job. I remember, like you said, that goal against Arsenal, but I think for me, the Barcelona goal at the Camp Nou,
Yeah,
that sort of stuff, creating goals really out of nothing.
Yeah.
Impressive. And going out to the right, only with two names, Saka, Salah for me. And when you talk about impact again, a lot of the Arsenal players this year has to be Saka for me. Yeah. Superb this season. Again, clutch time moments. Bukayo Saka scores goals. Yeah, the United Arsenal game, a classic, probably one of the best Premier League games this season. That goal he scored from way outside the box, impressive. Consistently links up the game as well. He can equally score and assist the football, and it's nicely Rashford and Saka both go at it because that's a rivalry now we can see for a few years, hopefully. Like Rashford, super skilled, can cut in, he can go bar line, get the ball in the box, but he's just so talented. I think one of the best right now with the ball at his feet. When the ball's at his feet, he's so tricky with the ball. He can do so many things with it. I think his output this year is finally matched his ability. I think the last few years, our mate Flynn, he's a big Arsenal fan, has been raving about him, but from the external point of view, the numbers weren't there, the output wasn't there. But this season, the goals, assists were there, Arsenal were winning, and he was the catalyst behind that. I think just an ultra impressive season of him, and hopefully he'll keep improving because I'd love to see that rivalry from Rashford and Saka continue into the future.
Well, to start off with, I'm really happy about that selection from you. And I'll explain why, because I've seen a lot of people with their team of the year picking like Kane on the wing. And I'm a big traditionalist. I don't think they start like, if Kane isn't the best striker, he's not in the team. Like, I understand in terms of like as a forward, he probably is the number 2 forward this year.
100%,
But if you're not going to go chuck him on the right wing when he probably hasn't even played a single minute on the wing this year. Go chuck him on the left wing maybe instead of Rashford. So I'm happy. That was a big relief to me. A big relief to me. I had the same too, Salah and Saka. Obviously going with Saka as well. A bit of with Salah, I think just the start of his season was just way off. Like, his numbers have been so good.
Remarkable to see.
But I think the impact, again, hasn't been there like recent years. It's a bit of a hard one, though, because when you have like players who have such good years consistently...
It's hard.
Well, he won the Player of the Year in 17-18. Since then, he's continually been exceptional. When you just have that little bit off, it looks like, oh, my God. So maybe we're overreacting, and maybe he had a better season than he did. Well, the numbers show that he did have a very, very good
19
season.
goals, 11 assists.
But, he just looks to be a little bit off his normal self. I don't know if that's coming with age or something now, but...
I feel like you can't take out the fact of Sadio Mane, who I reckon was, I think I said it before in this show, was the best player in that front three. I argue he is the best player. Salah might be the best performer, like on a day, or like the scoring, the numbers. But I think Sadio Mane... Losing him and losing Roberto Firmino now into next season, it's been a big adjustment period for Liverpool. But like 30 goal contribution to the Premier League is remarkable. But we keep talking about it, impact. Salah's impact at the start of the season was sort of subpar, and it's only the recent run that you're seeing his impact actually make a difference in the team. But before that, it was a bit of like not a consolation goal, but it'd always be those goals where they're losing, so it doesn't really feel like it makes any impact. Whereas in the past, he's scoring 2 in a 5-1 win, or he's scoring 1 in a 1-0 win. But now he's scoring 1 in a 3-1 loss. So it's a bit different that way. But Salah, great season. But like I keep saying all the way through, just the impact on the game is what's made the difference. I guess running through them. So obviously we had Pope in goal, Trippier right back, Saliba at Diaz at centre back, Estupiñán at left back there. Our midfield consisted of Ødegaard, De Bruyne, and Rodri. And then we went Rashford, Haaland, and Saka. Very strong team, and obviously he's a great candidate in there. Those guys have stood out this season, 100%. We'll swiftly move to the other awards that we're going with. Coach of the Year, I think this will be the most split we're going to have here today. I'm not sure where you went. Actually, where did you go first? Well, I'll hear where you went.
De Zerbi.
Well, we had the exact same answer. Talk to us about De Zerbi then and what he's got to do.
I think for me, it was pretty obvious. Like, I probably would have went with Arteta if he went and won the league. That would have been exceptional. And probably still have a really big argument with Arteta because no one expected him to even do anything near what they've done. So I just think that in my mind, the drop-off at the end of the season and the fact that, as we say, it's a bit of a choke has just, led me away from saying he was... the manager of the season, and I start to think about other options. Well, you also had like Emery.
Yeah, great end of the season.
Probably came too late to be in the consideration for me. And you got De Zerbi, who was, I think, after match day 7, which is not
early
even
on,
that late in the season.
Yeah.
So, and he's probably come in for Potter and improved them by a fair bit.
Yeah.
Like, obviously Potter last year was really good, and again this year, but I don't think he was at the level they are now. Like, and he's just constantly improving the team, bringing players in, getting the best out of players. Like we said, Estupiñán, like, he's just finding replacements. You've seen like and Ciso, the goal he scored the other day against Man City. Like, you say that it's all down to their like recruitment department, and no doubt it is, but also like the development comes from the coaching department as well.
100%.
So like he's obviously doing something right there, because they can't continually be recruiting these star players that no one else wants to recruit. He's obviously recruiting players with decent potential and developing them in a way that no one else at the moment has been able to do that.
100%, and that's most important.
Yeah.
When I think of him, I keep saying I was there the first game he managed, but it's the way they go about it, the way they play. I could watch Brighton play anyone on any day of the week, because the way that it's so exciting, like we said, the fullbacks get forward, it's a little triangle, just passing around, it's playing out from the back, and it's fluid and it's flowing football. And since he's been there, like I said, so 31 games, 14 wins, 7 draws and 10 losses, but 62 points from a Brighton team. Like, I know Potter obviously set up the foundation of that culture and the clubs of that culture that he built up, but Zerbi's brought across from Italy as well. I think it was Sassuolo he managed. Bringing them up. He's bringing the same thing here to Brighton. Brought up these younger players, these unknown names, the Evan Fergusons of the world, the Encisos, like you said, Caicedo, who stayed around, he's kept improving. And he dealt with the Trossard thing very well. I think it's gone under radar a bit. Trossard wanted out of there. They had a bit of an argument. There's a week that he missed the whole, could have gone away. They could have fallen away from where they'd been at, but they moved on. Matone, where the likes of these guys, he's managed them so well. And these names, I wouldn't expect to be saying these names, but it's because of his management, I reckon, that they've got there. And obviously European football, Europa League's secure for next season. Even that last game in City, the 1-1 draw, they weren't far off from winning it. Obviously, City had a lot of chances, but it's an extraordinary team. And the fact that Pep Guardiola has so much respect for this guy, he's a great manager, 100%.
Well, he's fearless. Like, he goes to the Etihad, he goes to Old Trafford, he goes to Anfield, and he doesn't go, I'm going to park my game in my half. He goes, let's attack them. Let's continue to play our game. And he's like getting 60, 65% possession in those type of places, which is unheard of. The only team you can think of that's done that is City.
Yeah, and that's why I think Pep has so much respect for him. It's the way he goes about things. He doesn't sit in his half, like you said. He goes, we'll play triangles in your box, and at Wembley, I'll go and do this. They weren't lucky not to win the FA Cup semi-final. They were much the better team, but they're getting goals like Danny Welbeck, who was discarded for Man United, didn't work out at Arsenal, was bouncing around and played at Watford, I think, for a bit. Now he's performing at this club at Brighton. It just goes to show he's a man manager. He gets the best out of each player, and a remarkable season from De Zerbi. I think from coming in, it's hard just to come in the season, but that early as well, it's a lot of pressure on you to do your job well, and he's done incredibly well. Obviously, like I said, shout out to Arteta, they did a great job this season, but it does feel like a bit tainted by a bit of recency bias, a bit of the especially that Nottingham Forest game. It just feels a bit like everything's been drained out of Arsenal. I guess we can go player of the year.
I think
it's pretty straightforward. We've said a bit about him. I'll just use some stats about him. 36 goals in 35 games, quickest to 15, quickest to 20 goals. Hat-tricks against literally every team. It felt like the start of the season. United did a hat-trick against them. Basically flipped the game, and obviously he's the Premier League's official first time ever getting the Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year. Remarkable all season, and just converted his Bundesliga form to the Premier League. So massive season from Haaland, and a scary prospect going the next few years. And I think interesting. I guess I'll ask you in this question: how do you reckon how he ranks up against Mbappe in that modern GOAT debate?
Well, he has to be ahead of Mbappe, because Mbappe's only done it in France, and the France league is a bit tainted, as we all know. Like everyone says, it's the Farmers League. I don't think it's as bad as everyone says it is, in my personal opinion. But obviously, it's well off the Premier League. The Haaland thing at the start of the season, you saw many people, can he do it in the Premier League? I thought he could, but maybe not to this degree.
Yes.
Like, I think we've had a bit of, like, a few people talking and saying he couldn't do it. But I think that was because other players from the Bundesliga we've seen come over, like the likes of the Werners, have come over and not really performed.
Yeah.
But I think Haaland's just built different, and especially being the number 9 in that City team, how can you not score goals?
I think I could score 5 or 6 in that team. There's a few tap-ins there. Saying that, so I want to do our young player of the season, but take Haaland out of it.
Okay, yep.
So for me, I've got a few up here. Obviously, Bukayo Saka's had a great season.
Yeah.
Martin Odegaard probably counts as younger players. I've got him in there as well. Evan Ferguson, I've put in there as well. Great season him. And then as a United fan, I couldn't not go Alejandro Garnacho. Who sort of names that you've been tossing up in your head there?
Well, in terms of like young player of the year as the award goes, I'd definitely be going Odegaard. But when I think of young player, I think about those players that have broke out this year. Yeah. So, as you said, the Evan Fergusons, the Garnachos, the players that have really like the 18, the teenagers of the league. Yeah. Like the likes of when we've seen before, like the Mason Greenwoods come out, the Phil Foden, that debate. Yeah. And for me, it would have to probably go Evan Ferguson over those two.
Yeah.
Just because I think he's been more impactful. Like, Garnacho's been excellent, but he hasn't been on the pitch enough.
Yes.
That's the biggest problem. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. When he's on the pitch, he's so dangerous when he's running at defenders, taking them on. Like, he's just exceptional, to be honest. Like, you look at that individual goal to steal the 3 points against Fulham, 95th minute.
Drive, cut in, right.
But yeah, in terms of the traditional young player of the year, it'd have to be Martin Odegaard for me. Yeah. And I think he was the foundation of that Arsenal team up until, 5 match days ago.
Yeah.
And like, we had Saka there, Martinelli, who are also part of the Arsenal front three, and who were exceptional as well. But I think Martin Odegaard was just that level ahead.
Yeah. I had a similar... I was actually 50-50 between Odegaard and Saka. But I think, listen to you, and another point I thought about, he's captaining as well. He's captaining the football club, Arsenal Football Club, one of the biggest clubs in the world. I think he's set up on the big moments. He's been the leader of that football club and done a great job this season. But yeah, if the anti-Haaland rule, there's a lot of guys out there, the next generation. Saka, the 13 goals, 11 assists. And Evan Ferguson, 6 goals in 18 games, but only 9 starts there as well. So ultra impactful. I remember at Chelsea at the post, every post at Chelsea that day. I know. He got very unlucky that day as well. But it's a lot of young talent coming through. And obviously, Evan Ferguson signing that big deal at Brighton. He'll be there for a few more years. So that's a team to be excited about. So segueing off that, surprise team of the season. So who sort of sprung out to you as, I guess, the surprise package you're very happy with? I've gone 3 teams. Brighton, like I've mentioned. I've also gone with Brentford and Newcastle.
Okay.
What did you have in that bracket there?
So mine are a bit different.
Yeah.
I've gone Bournemouth.
Yes.
Fulham.
Right. That's a good call. Yeah.
And Newcastle.
Right.
And I'd say my main one is Fulham.
Yeah. Talk me about Fulham. Yeah.
I didn't think Fulham would escape the relegation battle.
Yeah.
I saw Mitrovic again coming in and doing Mitrovic's normal self. Yeah. Well, he's done it now 3 times, I think, where he's come in, dominated the championship, 40 goals. I think the only difference is it was a little bit different last year. Like, he normally getting the 20, 25 goals in the championship, but he just, like, demolished that league. I think he got 45 or something like that.
Stupid number, yeah.
Yeah, and he's come in, done well. And then you look at the likes of Paulinho, as I already said, Andreas Pereira, who...
Good season.
Very good season. Like, being a United supporter, I remember him and Lingard fighting for that number 10 position just before Bruno came. It was terrible watching. Like,
dark times.
I was like, it was just like dubba trying to fight for a position. But he's been exceptional this year. 100%. And then I had people on the bench like Carney, the Willians.
Williams reinvented himself.
Yeah.
I thought that move was just the whole, let me get the paycheck before I retire. But he's got himself fit. He looks ready to go. And like Pereira, they've just reinvented themselves and elevated themselves. I think a lot has to go to Marco Silva. Done a great job down there to get them back up and then get them in that position. But yeah, they've had a year that's gone under the radar because they're sort of sitting in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, sort of sitting now in 10th and holding there. But a team that had a late run in the FA Cup.
Exactly.
So strong cut run, maintained league position at the year, and obviously Mitrovic losing for those last few games coming at the end of the season probably hurt them.
Yep.
But you're not wrong there. A great season from Fulham there. I went a similar direction, but something a bit different. Same sort of region. I went with Brentford as my surprise team. Obviously, a great season, second season syndrome. We know it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And losing Ericsson, not really making any big, huge, massive signings. Schade came in January, but sitting on the bench, the young German. But Thomas Frank's just shown time after time that this team is remarkable. It can play on the counter. It can hold the ball and play in possession when it has to be. And I think it just has summed up. They've only lost 2 games at home this whole season, and that's to Newcastle and Arsenal. So 2 top 3, top 4 teams. It just shows how skilled of a manager he is to manage his team. And obviously now losing Tony and we'll go to that and the drama of that. They've continued to play great football. And I think the players and the improvement that the players have had in that team has been remarkable. And the likes of Mbeumo, you wouldn't think of him being a guy that leads a line and scores goals, but he does because of the system that they've built. I think that fortress at home is so remarkable, and I've just been happily surprised how well they've done. Top half team now, and hope they can kick on next few years, maybe get some European football in years to come, like a Brighton did.
Yeah, well, I think they're definitely one of the ones that should be up there for the debate. Other special mentions probably obviously go to the Brightons, Aston Villas, the Newcastles of the world. Yeah. Like they've had an exceptional season. But I would say like Newcastle wasn't so much of a surprise. Like with some of the foundations they brought in, bringing in the Isaacs and the Boatmans. Like, don't get me wrong, finishing 4th is probably above where I would have put them on the ladder. But I wouldn't be it's not a surprise to me that they like have been so high up the table. Yeah. Same with a Brentford based on last year. Same with like a Villa. They've got the players there. They just probably didn't have the coach.
Yes.
So I think that was where my one came from. Fulham like probably didn't have the players they thought. They had players that in the past haven't been of quality. You look at the Andreas Pereiras, the Mitrovic and Carney. Mitrovic and Carney, who've stuck with Fulham for a long time, have been exceptional championship players, but have struggled a bit in the Prem.
Quality,
and they've been decent players this year, up there with. That's why they finished so high. It's those championship players that have come in and
100%
continued their form from this championship into the Premier League.
I think, and you just got to look at all the teams that came up, stayed up.
Yep.
Like for me, that's a big win for all their clubs, and even Forest. I'm happy that they stayed up. I'm happy for Steve Cooper. He's done a great job managing that team. But there's been so many sort of good sort of feeling stories this year from the Premier League. That teams that have battled and kept themselves up. And Fulham's a great example of a team that I had almost. I think I had them down at the start of the season or just out. But the fact they're well and truly safe, and we're in European spots for times this season, just remarkable effort from that team and Marco Silva and their boys. Obviously, before we finish up today, tonight we're recording this tonight of the final game of the season. So you've got Everton going down. I just want to confirm that we're making it clear.
I'm making that clear.
Going down.
Well, by the time this video comes out,
we'll know.
Everyone will know if I made a bit of a road call there.
Yes.
If my prediction's going to get a bit of hatred towards it. But that's a bit of an out there opinion, but I'm going to stick with it.
Chest on the line. Yeah. I like that call a lot. Obviously, thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, thank you.
Another episode of The Away Days, done and dusted. We'll continue this going on through the offseason. The world of football never sleeps, basically. So transfer news, we'll do some mock-ups of some teams, a bit of pre-season news as well, and we'll get a third guest on here very, very soon as well. But thanks for sticking around. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for watching this show. I love what we're doing here with this show. It's getting great support, so I really appreciate that. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with mates, and leave a comment down below and keep sharing the word out there. Obviously, very excited the season's coming to an end because it's that exciting time of the year. Obviously, an FA Cup final and Champions League finals to come, so we'll react to those type things as well. But exciting to have a football fans, to be honest. Really excited to end the season. I'll see you guys very, very soon.